There we go. Welcome. Nice to see you all. I'm going to set the scene for just a moment. If you are watching live, could you please just comment and let me know that the audio is working? Apparently, I was on a few minutes ago and the audio wasn't working. So, welcome back for those of you who are just here. Can I just get a thumbs up if the audio is working in the comment section? People are joining. Hopefully it's working. I'll watch the comments real quick, but let me set the scene. Imagine you're standing at the base of Mount Everest, towering over you at over 29,000 feet. The wind is howling, air is thin, and every logical part of your brain is saying, turn back. What are you doing? It ain't worth it. What is all this for? And so if you're in that moment, there's something usually inside of you, something deeper that demands you go for that climb. Not because it makes sense, not because someone else told you you could or couldn't, because you must. It's an internal drive. It's a compulsion, not a choice. This is the essence of what my friend Allison Armstrong calls the night stage of life. It's a season in life, she says, fueled by adventure, conquest, and the hunger to prove who you are. Now, I know a lot of people in this stage. If you happen to be in this stage of life, I'd love to hear from you in the chat box. Today, we're going to uncover why this stage of life matters, why some never grow out of it, and how you can navigate it to build a life far greater than any single summit. In her model, the night stage is generally between, let's say, 13 to 35 years old. The nights are driven by adventure, challenge, risk-taking, and the need to prove their worth to themselves. Now, here's what's interesting. I've met people who are stuck in this stage at 45, 55, 60 years old. So traditionally, people work their way through it somewhere in their 20s and 30s, but not always. I've met people, 47, 50 years old who are saying, I just got to prove that I can do it. And so I'd ask you, what part in your life is the part still in this stage? You're trying to prove to yourself who you really are, what you're really capable of, and prove what you can actually make happen. Now, in that psychological research, according to Eric Erickson, there's a big piece here on identity versus role confusion. So generally, adolescents must explore and define themselves. Jeffrey Arnett calls this emerging adulthood, a time of exploration, instability, and self-focus. Again, it sounds like it's for youth, but I've watched people go through a divorce in midlife and all of a sudden be right back at this stage trying to figure out, who am I? What am I here for? What's the point of all this? If you think of a visual model, generally it's a night stage, which is sinking, adventure, and proving to yourself who you are. Then you hit a print stage where you've defined, this is what my life is worth investing my life into. So you find something worth building. You put down your sword as a knight and you pick up yourself and you start to build. You build something worth investing your life into. And then eventually it gets to a king stage, which is all about leading, legacy, and stewardship. What'll be left behind. So if you're in one of these three stages, this training will be super useful for you. Now, let's talk about real quick in this kind of life journey, Mount Everest. So 700 to 1,000 climbers attempt it every year. There's a 60 to 70% success rate. And there's usually about 4 to 5 motivated dead people per year that just didn't cut it. And so when you think about that, my question to you is, what is your Mount Everest goal? What's the thing you look at that very few people go after, but to you, you feel compelled? You feel like you were made to do this. You can't live without knowing if it's possible. What is that thing for you? It could be trying to marry the person of your dreams. It could be trying to build your empire or your company. It could be hitting a certain dollar amount. It could be trying to be the perfect parent. It could be trying to go out and break a world record. What is it for you? What's the thing that you just feel compelled to go after that very few people even chase and even fewer actually make it? and some even die trying. Now, here's what's crazy. There's another one. So Mount Everest, we think of as the peak, the pinnacle of goals to go after for people who are into mountain climbing and stuff like that. But in reality, there's another one right next to it called K2. K2 only has 175 to 200 permits a year versus Everest has 700 to 1,000. It's much deadlier, has a 25% fatality rate. Could you imagine you're one of 200 people knowing that 25% or 50 people are going to die trying? Climbers willingly risk everything to try to get to this summit, which is fascinating. And so the psychology behind the climb in this specific stage of life, studies show that Everest climbers are thrill seekers, achievement driven, and often extroverted. Despite the risk, the internal drive compels them. Even Sherpas. So I always laugh because people give so much credit to the Everest people who made the climb. There's a Sherpa named Kami Rita. He's done 30 Everest summits. That's where I laugh my face off because so many people get so excited to talk about they've climbed Mount Everest. That dude's done it 30 times. It's amazing. And I always laugh because people sit there with their $1,000 outfit and their boots and all their fancy gear. This dude throws everything on his back for you and carries it up on behalf of you to the mountain. He's done it 30 times. So, side note, this is something I think is really interesting about coaches. I remember I was having a call with a client's father. They're very, very well-known and successful family. One of the 10th richest in their country. I've worked with the son to do a lot for his life and business. And at one point, him and his dad wanted to talk to me real quick. So we were chatting. And towards the end of the call, his dad said, I finally figured out what it is that you do. Performance coach. It now makes sense to me. And I said, sure. What do I do? And he says, well, you've been working with my son. I'm very grateful for the results. You've certainly helped him, raise the capital, build the business, do all these things. He's an incredible young man. I'm so proud of him. He's talking about his son's in his 40s, but he's talking about him like that. And what was really interesting, he said, you are a Sherpa. I said, excuse me? I didn't know if there's an insult or a compliment. I said, tell me more. What does that mean? And he goes, you're someone who scaled the mountain many times by yourself and with others. You know the path, and you're able to point the light in just the right way that shows people where to go. And you're able to warn them about anything that could cause them to accidentally fall off the side of the mountain. And you know the right thing to, the right gear to bring at the right time. You know the right time to climb. You know all this stuff because you've done it so many times. And so when I hear the story about Kami Rita, 30 Mount Everest summits, it always makes me smile because I feel like that with my coaching clients. We've scaled businesses. We've raised hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars of capital. We've done all these things. And I've gotten the ability to go on that journey many, many times just because I'm side by side with the owner, the CEO, the founder, and we're working on all these things together, navigating it to get to the result they're after. So it's a blessing. But here's the key. Even with Kami Rita, it's never about just one more mountain. It's about the urge to climb again and again. And so the knight's dilemma. What dilemma exists at this stage of life? Well, the climb is essential. It builds resilience. It builds courage. It builds self-awareness. But the trap of this stage is it never stops, never transitioning from the chase to true creation. And this is a big moment for people. I remember in my life when it was always the next thing, always the bigger project, always the bigger stage, always the next event. And at some point, I'm like, what am I doing? I got to find something that I can actually feel that it's worth investing my life into. Now, the metaphor here is the view at the summit is breathtaking. Air's thin, but here's the key. You can't stay at the peak forever. I mean, I was just watching Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson talk about this. He said when he got to the peak, it was exciting. And he realized you can't stay there forever. So he looked around and he said, how do I continue to build beyond the peak? The logo I made for my company, it's a little triangle, but then the arrows go beyond. I don't know if you've ever seen the commercial, the Kobe system. It's talking to the most successful people on earth. And it says, what do you do after you've become the best of the best? What do you do after you've achieved all the platinum records? What do you do after you've gotten the Nobel Prize? What do you do after you've achieved everything that's possible in your career? And then it's the peak. And he goes, you go beyond the peak, which is the inspiration for my logo. how do you go beyond just that success? And to say just that success isn't downplaying it. I mean, it's your version of Mount Everest. It's your version of K2. It's the biggest climb in the world that you spent your life trying to conquer. But where do you go? How do you get beyond that? What's that next step look like? Well, here's the key. You have to build something meaningful with all that you've learned along the way. If you think of Maslow's hierarchy, the knights chasing self-esteem, achievement, recognition, but never truly ascending to self-actualization unless they stop chasing and start choosing. Ericksonian's development, when he talks about without identity formation, intimacy and deeper connection later in life is almost impossible. I've noticed this trend among some of the most successful people on earth. Why are they all struggling with relationships? They're so driven to achieve more and more and more and more and more. Why do their relationships keep falling apart? It's usually because of this. They haven't completely formed who they really are. They're constantly chasing that next thing, thinking it's going to finally form them into who they imagine themselves to be. And in reality, without that identity transformation and formation, it's hard to form a relationship because you're always dynamically changing. So reflection questions. What mountains are you climbing right now? Is it climbing about proving your net worth? Is it building your life? Is it taking care of the ones you love? I don't know why you're climbing, but what mountain are you chasing? And are you ready to chase, to make a shift from just chasing mountains to actually creating a legacy? It's a big transition moment in life when you stop chasing mountains for the sake of proving who you are and you start doing something that you'll actually be remembered for. Now, final story here, knighthood is sacred. It's where we forge our strength, but knighthood is not the destination. It's just the beginning. If you live forever chasing, you'll die with a collection of summits, but you have not built an actual kingdom that anyone will remember. Here's a simple invitation. If today's message resonated with you, if you see yourself in the story of the knight, then the next part of your journey is clear. It's time to transform your hard-earned strength into something bigger, to stop just chasing mountains and to start building a life, a legacy, the impact you were born to create. It's exactly part of the reason why we created Performance Coach University. At PCU, we help people just like you, high achievers, knights, climbers, take everything they've learned scaling mountains and translate it into extraordinary leadership, coaching, contribution. You learn how to turn your adventures into a mission, how to build legacy, not just achieve goals, how to coach others with the same fire you have to conquer their summits. Like I said, that gentleman, he's been to the top of the mountain 30 times. Most people walk around with their badge of honor because they've been up there once. As a coach, you'll realize you scale the mountain over and over and over again when you help others get there. And the funnest part, you think it's fun getting there yourself, but one of the coolest moments in the world is when you watch someone peak their mountain. You see the joy on their face, and all of a sudden in their eyes, you see a whole new version of them come to life because they realize what they're truly capable of. That moment is that new high. It used to be the high of getting to the mountain and feeling so proud of yourself. It's a whole different level when you watch someone else break through and realize what they're capable of in that moment. Your mountains made you strong. Now it's time to become a leader, a guide, a builder you're meant to be. If you're ready to stop chasing and start choosing, if you're ready to build, join us in Performance Coach University. We would love to have you. The world needs more climbers right now. It always does. It also needs more leaders who have earned their strength and who are ready to use it for good. So if you're someone who's absolutely scaled that mountain in whatever form you were chasing, whether it's chasing businesses or health or fitness or relationships, if you've scaled your mountain and you've done it many times and it's time to elevate into a place of leadership, reach out to us. We would absolutely love to have you join us. We have some of the coolest people in the world, part of our community. Former special operators from the military, active members in the military. We have prima ballerina who's come through. We have NFL athletes who've come through. We've gotten reached out to from Johnson & Johnson, United Airlines, some of the most amazing companies in the world. We've had consultants from the Big Four come to us and say, hey, I know how to do business consulting. I'd like to know the people side of the consulting work, so I'm going to come get certified with you. We're ICF and BCC accredited, level 1 and level 2 at ICF, if you're looking for that certification as well. We'd love to have you. So if you're someone who conquered that mountain in your own life, you're ready to help others conquer it, go hit that peak 30 times instead of just bragging that you've been there once. Go to performancecoachuniversity.com, fill out the application. We'd love to have a chat. Anyways, Tag someone who needs to hear this. Tag someone who's chasing mountains right now that you think has the potential to become an incredible leader. We'd love to chat with them as well. Have a great day. I'm going to go have some fun. See y'all later. Bye.